Yeah, let's look at the StarCraft II patch. Let's do that. That's a good idea. This is on the PTR right now, so it could change, but generally what they put on there is what goes live. Let's take a look at what this says, okay? And I will let you guys know what I think about it. First off, Zerg, Creep Tumor, cooldown increased from 11 to 13. Sight range reduced from 11 to 10. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is the biggest problem in the entire fucking game, is creep is completely insane in StarCraft II. It is completely insane. Boosts the movement of everything. You can't step on it against Zerg, and it gives you vision of everything. It's the idea in StarCraft II that was really good, and then you look at how it works, and you're like, that's busted. Holy crap. So this is, I love this, the direction of this. You can't really get rid of creep. I mean, the whole game has evolved that way for over 10 years. But to nerf it a bit, I like it. Okay, hatchery, layer, and hive. Creep spread, interval decreased. Okay. Sight range increased. For all of them to 12. So they all have hive vision range. Okay. Don't really care too much about that. And the interval decreased. So I'm guessing that's how quickly the creep spreads out from the hatchery. Okay. It's hard for me to visualize anywhere where this is going to make a huge difference, so we'll just say okay to that. Viper added 0.71 second cast finish time to abduct. Cannot move or use other abilities during this time. Okay, so a little bit of a delay on the abducts. That's a good idea. Like, Viper is one of the most cost-efficient, crazy things. It's the Flying Defiler, right? It's not as good as the Defiler, but it's pretty damn close. So I like this as well. I like it. Okay, Ultralisk. Reduce size by 12.5%. Okay, I'd have to see exactly what this is, but this looks like a huge buff. This looks like an awesome, amazing buff, which is good to see because Ultralisks are not used so much. Ultras are like so big in StarCraft II, right? So to see them reduce a little bit, I feel like this is something TLO used to talk about, is that they should really reduce the size of the Ultra to make it a little bit more usable. Ultras are very clunky for attacking, right? Like, that's a big issue with them. They're excellent defensively because they're on your wide open creep, but attacking, they have a hard time. So I like this a lot. This is a very cool way to maybe change late game Zerg a little bit. Give them a different option. Increase range slop from 1 to 1.4. Range target can move before miss. I feel like this is a language I don't speak. What the fuck is slop? Scarlet says slop is essentially the distance a kiting unit has to run away in order to animation, cancel, and Ultra's attack. Okay. It's funny that they would write it like this, because StarCraft has been my entire life for more than 20 years, and I don't know what this means. Slop is what Shrek eats. Yes, thank you, guy in the chat. So that's kind of an insane way to write the patch note. Like, I don't... Like, who's working on StarCraft II, and why do they even know what this is? Because I don't know what this is, but okay. Increase range slop. So that's... You have to run a little bit further to cancel the attack hitting you. So when the animation of the Ultralisk attack, if I'm understanding this correctly, when the animation starts, they have to get further away to not take the damage. So that's okay. That's just... This looks like big buffs to Ultralisks, which, again, is cool. Is cool. I like it. All right, Hydralisk. Muscular augments move speed bonus increased from 0.79 to 1.05. That's good. Okay. Like, Hydralisks, again, a unit that are, like, extremely good defensively, but can be a little bit hard to actually attack with because they're slow. So I like the idea of buffing that up a little bit. Damage point reduced from 0.15 to 0.1. Damage point reduced? What does that mean? Damage point? Have I ever said anything about damage point in fucking 12 years of casting StarCraft II? What? The point where damage is, dummy. Oh, okay. Oh, target acquisition. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Hold on. Damage point reduced, though. So the target acquisition will be lower, so they won't just auto-attack things that are further away. guess. We're going to not talk about that too much because I'm not 100% sure on this. It makes them stutter step faster. Oh, that makes more sense. If that's true, what guy in the chat is saying. It blows my mind sometimes, the way that patch notes are written, where it can have two things right in a row.
69 donated $3.
Okay, we'll do that later. We'll do that later. We're talking about the patch right now. I'll replay anything I skip later. But look, the fact that this says range slop, which I have no idea what it is, then it's like damage point reduce. It's like, these are not how we talk about the game. So it's very weird to see this written like this. Yeah, I find that odd. I find that an odd way to talk about it. Okay, Broodlord, move speed increased from 1.97 to 2.3. Let's hold on. A Broodling duration reduced from 5.71 to 3.57. Okay, I like this together more than I would like one of these. Right, so the Broodlings stay around less time, so less snowball on the ground, but quicker speed for the Broodlords. Now, the quicker speed for the Broodlords, I'm not minding this too much when I'm starting to think about situations I actually see Broodlords in, because it does feel like like if you look at the style of TVZ, like the Maru style, where you attack for a little bit and then you just bleed Zerg out until literally the map is mined out, it always turns into a big flock of Broodlords that get massacred by mass Thor Ghost. And it's just, you're just kind of like, wow, that was something. So I like the idea of changing them in a little way where the Broodlings are not going to be quite as insane, but maybe they'll be able to actually run around and do other things. Now Solar can dodge the nukes. Good call. Poor Solar. All right, our build time increased from 8.6 to 12.9. Wow. Damn, I did not expect something like this. Build time increased by over 4 seconds. Dude, that's kind of crazy. I'm surprised to be reading that. They nerfed Ragnarok and Dark, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's kind of insane. I'm surprised by that one, but okay. Overall, just taking a look without taking anything else in the patch so far into consideration, I like the idea of the creep and the Viper being nerfed a bit. I like the idea of the Ultra being buffed a lot. I really like that. The Hydralisk getting a little bit faster and being able to be a little bit more microable. Okay, I'm digging this. The Broodlord getting faster, but being less snowbally with the Broodlings. Okay, I like it. Yeah, it's like they're trying to change the end game a little bit, right? I like the ideas. Especially the Ultralisk. I think that's great. Okay, Protoss. Shield battery. Battery overcharge. Recharge rate reduced from 200% to 150. Okay. Yeah, sometimes overcharges do look rather fucking stupid. You know, when you see like 2 units hold off an entire Terran army when the Protoss has overextended, like it's I can't be sad about this. I think this is probably good. Observer move speed increased from 2.63 to 2.82. Model size increased by 17.5%. Okay, this is funny to me. This is a funny one to me, okay? First off, the movement speed increase. Because there was a patch, and I made fun of the patch so many times that someone actually ended up messaging me about it. But there was the patch where they nerfed observer movement speed because they literally put in the patch notes that it was annoying to Terran players when they couldn't kill the observer. And that was like the dumbest thing I ever saw written in a patch note in my entire life. Okay, and I'll probably never, ever see anything stupider than that written in a patch note, that it was annoying to the Terran players to not be able to catch the observers. when they get away. It's like, holy shit. I mean, I know I whine about Terran, but this is another level here where you get the fucking unit nerf because you're annoyed that it gets away sometimes. So to see it go back to a like a speed increase, I think is really funny. The fact that the model size is going up by almost 20%, that's kind of crazy. Like, it's not that hard to see observers already. So I'm surprised by the model size increase. I am surprised by that. I don't think I care that much. What's the difference between size and model size? Okay, size doesn't exist really in StarCraft II. In StarCraft 1, size is a thing that helps you calculate damage for different damage types. That isn't the way StarCraft 2 operates. Model size is what you see on the screen, right? So, yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be easier to snipe. It's bigger. Like, I guess because it's bigger, but it moves faster, when you scan it, it'll be within your vision longer or something like that. It takes longer to get outside of the scan or something. So, I mean, I guess I get it. But it's like, it's going to be so big now that, like, you see this fucking ripple come over. It's going to look like a Banshee. It's going to look like a cloaked Banshee's coming for you when the observer flies in, right? Like, it's getting up there in terms of size. So that's that. I find that's going to be weird to watch and to cast. Okay, Archon can now fit between single gap walls. Collision size with other units unaffected. Okay. Yeah, so the Protoss always has to wall, right? And the standard wall that you use, like PVZ is what really comes to mind here. The standard wall that you use so that you can block it with a single adept so lings don't get in. Sometimes when you make an Archon later against like Mutalisks or something, the Archon can't get out of your base. So I see why they did this. I see why they did this. That has to be exactly why, because it's so annoying because you basically have to wall in that matchup, right? And like, yeah, like this can happen even in PvP. Maybe you have an Archon in your main base or something. You have that adept wall at your choke. Okay. Collision size of other units unaffected, as expected. Okay, High Templar move speed increased. No shit. Huh. Okay, so High Templars, look at this. 282, 282. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Are we going to get one of those RTSs where everything's the same speed? Little bit surprised to see a buff to High Templars. I doubt anyone in the entire universe thinks that a High Templar needs a buff in any game. But okay. Disruptor. Purifier orb radius reduced from 1.5 to 1.35. Okay, I'm liking this. I'm digging this, okay? The Disruptor, I think it was like a cool idea, but it's also one of the dumbest units ever made. So to make it a little bit smaller and to make it a little bit less ridiculous, I can get on board with that. Protoss has enough splash damage. Yeah, the pure Disruptor meta was funny indeed. Okay, Carrier. Interceptor shields reduced from 40 to 30. Interceptor attack target priority reduced from 20 to 19. Okay, this has to do something really specific. And I'm not sure what this is exactly. I'm sure someone has figured it out. But this does something very specific, I think. So, intercept attack target priority reduced from 20 to 19. So, basically, the interceptors will get targeted more quickly than something that they were not before. And I don't know what that is. Someone's saying in the chat, auto target won't prioritize interceptors in big fights anymore. Is that what that does exactly? That's what that's meant for? Okay. So basically the interceptors will tank less damage is what it looks like this is exactly doing. So that, that makes sense. Like, sometimes you have weird things that occur where it's like, oh, this type of priority. We see lots of things like this that exist where there's little tricks, right? Like, for instance, I talk about this in StarCraft 1 a lot, BC's one-shot Scourge. So when you see a bunch of Scourge flying towards your BCs, you don't care. But if there's one Mutalisk with them, you're like, oh, shit. Because the priority all goes to the Mutalisk and then all the Scourge hit, right? So this is a similar type of idea that we're looking at here with the Carrier. Interceptor flying radius around target increased. Okay, I guess that might look cooler. I can't think of what else that will really truly do. Sentry build time reduced from 26.4 to 22.9 seconds. Okay. I like this. I like this. Just like sentries in general are not the hottest thing right now, so I think making them build a little bit quicker is cool. Forge. Research times reduced by 7, 9, and 11 seconds. That's actually a little bit surprising. I mean, you already have Chrono Boost, right? So already your upgrades were doing very well with forges. So, I mean, that's obviously just straight up a buff to Protoss right there. Okay, so overall, this looks like... Okay, so this is a nerf to, like, kind of late game armies and, like, a buff to, like, mid-game armies, right? Like, take a look. Okay, so ignore the Archon one. Ignore the Observer one. Ignore the Shield Battery one. Disruptor and Carrier both have nerfs. Upgrades for your ground army, Sentries, and High Templars all have buffs. So this is more about getting a bunch of units as opposed to being like, yeah, I don't know, I'm going to the late game and just doing, like, Sky Toss or something. Which... I think anytime you're nerfing a Death Ball composition, that's a good thing. We don't want Death Ball compositions, right? Like, those are always the most boring things. Whether it's a Broodlord Infestor army from Wings of Liberty, or it's, you know, a Sky Toss army, you don't want to really see that stuff too much. It's good sometimes, but when it becomes the standard meta, you don't ever want that. All right, let's go down to Terran. Ghost. Enhanced Shockwaves upgrade removed. Base EMP radius increased from 1.5 to 1.75. Steady targeting is canceled if the target moves more than 13.5 range away from the ghost while casting. Cast range is 10. Interesting. Okay. So, enhanced shockwaves. Okay, think about what ghosts are, right? Literally every time you start making ghosts, you get enhanced shockwaves. Okay, now normally upgrades like that, it's important, like, power gating for early game. Okay, so, like, anything that you would really think about getting towards the beginning of the game that has an upgrade that you will always get, you have that as an upgrade because it kind of gates the power of the unit. Okay, so, like, think about, like, well, I'll just, because I have a bunch of people that watch StarCraft 1 in here. Dragoon range. You will always get Dragoon range every game. But you put that on an upgrade because the Dragoon will be too strong if it comes out with it. Now, the thing is, the Ghost is a much later tech unit. So the fact that you're getting that every single time with it, like, I understand what they're doing here. Like, do you need to get that every time, or can you just screw around with the numbers? So I kind of get this. I kind of understand what's happening here because it's almost silly that there's not a choice, right? Like, most things you want to have some sort of choice. If it's not, like, power gating it, because it's like, yeah, we just need the ghost to be like, 17 seconds later normally. And it's like, well, there's not a standard ghost time. It's not like the ghost comes out right at the beginning of the game. You can actually just, make the Ghost Academy a little bit earlier and get the upgrade. So I understand what they're trying to do with that, and then they kind of make up for it by increasing the EMP radius. What was the radius boost from Shockwaves? Do we know? Yeah, Liquipedia. StarCraft II. Ghost. Okay. Where's EMP? Where does it talk about the EMP? I guess EMP round. Okay, so they go right in between. So it was 2 with enhanced shockwaves from 1.5 to 2, and now it's going to be 1.75 straight up. Okay, so they give you 50% of the upgrade, and it starts with that. So overall, I would say that this is clearly a nerf to the Ghost. 2 is a lot bigger. 2 is a lot bigger than 1.5. This is kind of interesting though, because the main thing that I would say that this really does, well, I mean, there's definitely late games against infestors where this becomes where the enhanced shockwaves really screw up infestors. If you look at late game Terran vs. Zerg, you see a lot of games where the infestors, like, are really useless. The EMP hits and they just They're like, I don't know, man. So I kind of like it against that because the infestors have very little usage in the late game. A lot of times you'll see someone like Dark make like 10 infestors and he gets like 1 spell off. And that's kind of lame. But I feel like when you take this together with up here, this, it's going to be very hard for Terran to stop Psystorm. The High Templars have so much more speed now. Well, not so much more, 0.2, but still, that's a reasonable buff. And then a harder to EMP with. So definitely we're seeing TVP being played around with a lot here. Steady targeting is canceled if the target moves more than 13.5 range away while the ghost is casting. Okay, so being able to run out, you should be able to cover that distance pretty easily, I would say. So this is snipe, basically. For people who don't understand, like, we don't call it steady targeting. It was called snipe, but then it became cancelable if you damage the ghost. And then it was renamed to steady targeting. But, like, for instance, in GSO, we made the call to just keep calling it snipe. Because it's like calling DT Blink Shadow Step. Who the fuck is going to call it Shadow? Oh, he Shadow Steps away. It's like, listen, I'm not fucking playing fairy tale time here. This is an esport. But look, this is snipe. So snipe, basically, you can retreat from and cancel it. Trying to think of, like, the different situations where we're going to see this, right? Because against High Templars, you're going to see EMP still. What is going to run from snipe? Ultras? Broodlords, perhaps? It's going to make it harder for Maru to grind everyone down. That's for sure. Now, you're saying, like, Infestor and you're saying Viper. Those are mostly EMP targets. Like, yeah, you see snipes on them, but, like, think about it, right? You're about to have a battle. You want to stop them from casting their spells, right? So, anyways, that's the way I'm thinking about it. Okay, so a nerf. A nerf. The ghosts are nerfed. Okay, Banshee. Hyperflight rotors upgrade time reduced from 121 to 100 seconds. Hyperflight rotors cost reduced from 150, 150, 125, 125. Well, this is really underused, and it's an exciting upgrade. Like, Hyperflight rotors we don't see very often, right? Like, sometimes Ryung will bust it out. Occasionally you see somebody else. But, I mean, buffing up something like this that's very, very underused is always kind of a fun thing for the meta. I like it. Cyclone, Magfield Accelerator, damage bonus changed from plus 20 versus armor to plus 10 versus all. I like this. The first thing that pops in my head is cool. So the plus 20 versus armor looked pretty insane before, right? Like it was kind of crazy to watch. And to have the Magfield work against absolutely everything now, it makes it like an upgrade that you can really think about and be like, oh, okay, this, you know, a little bit wider usage of it. I kind of like it. And in general, I don't like the Cyclone as a unit. The Cyclone is like, it's not really microable. If you think that locking onto something and then right-clicking around is micro, then, oh, my sweet summer flower, you need to fucking get real here. So I don't like the Cyclone in general, but I like this change a little bit. All right. Sensor tower radar range reduced from 30 to 27. Okay. Raven rework. Ooh, reworks are exciting. Gas cost reduced from 200 to 150. Okay, that's pretty cheap. Build time reduced from 43 to 30 seconds. Crazy. Starting energy from 50 to 75. Holy shit. Interference matrix reduced from 11 to 8. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Anti-armor missile armor reduction reduced from 3 to 2. Okay, that's fine. No one cares. Corvid reactor upgrade removed. Okay. And auto turret energy costs increased from 50 to 75. Wow, that's a pretty massive change. Okay, so the first thing I was thinking was like, okay, that's way cheaper and it builds way faster. So, holy shit, what buffs? Starting energy from 50 to 75. I'm like, oh my god. And the very first thing I thought about that was the fucking turret harassment is going to be out of control. Like, holy crap. You get it so fast, more energy, fly it around with turrets. It's amazing. Okay, so to have the turret energy go up, they thought of that too, and they're like, no. let's calm that down a little bit. Okay, and interference matrix is less time. Interference matrix, yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, you never see it against Zerg. You definitely see it early game TVT, like disabling tanks and things like that. And then TVP, I feel like the only place you really see it is sometimes against Colossi in the early game. And that difference of 3 seconds is going to be huge for Protoss. And anti-armor, the reduction for the armor shred, right, from 3 to 2, I think it seems fine, right? Like, I feel like we see this most by far in TVT, and you just don't ever engage when it occurs. We definitely see it against Protoss, but I think it's obviously still a good spell. It's obviously still good. It basically is, like, nullifies a sentry, I guess, right? Something like that. That's interesting. That's interesting. I feel like I most want to see what this does to TVT. And you know what else I like is, when you look at the cost and build time reduction, I've always liked it when a Terran will build a Raven against Zerg to help clear creep. I have always enjoyed it when that happens. It does not happen very often. But it has always seemed like a good idea to me. It just, in play, it doesn't really occur. Maybe it's going to occur a little bit more now. Because the amount of scans Terrans use to remove creep right now, it's a lot. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see it a little bit more. I'm interested to see how this is gonna play out. I think it's still gonna be a very good unit. All right, misc bug fixes, quality of life changes. Follow acquire range reduced from 5 to 2. Units will switch to attacking from moving when within this range of the follow target. Switch to attacking from moving within this range of the follow target. What? Okay, I'm trying to get my brain around what that is exactly. Not entirely sure. Dark Templar attack blink delay reduced from this to that. Standardized number on normal game speed. Okay, I'm not. It feels like this should have been listed in the notes, but I guess they consider that quality of life. I guess it's not that much of a difference. Spawn radius +1. Okay, who cares? Reduced random burrow unburrow delay from 0.36 to 0.18. Yeah, there's little randomnesses within the game that exist, like very small things, so not everything happens at once. So it looks like that's what that is, but they're reducing it for the mine. No longer targets Zerg eggs without a manual order. Oh, that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice for Terran. That's a little buff, actually. Because, like, when you drop in a mineral line and the drones run, and then it just pops off in an egg, that's not something that you want to see, obviously. We're unlock. Loaded into a medevac. Okay. Lock on no longer targets Zerg eggs without manual order. Okay, same thing. Fix an issue. We're repeatedly using stop command. Oh, okay. I didn't even know that was a thing, actually. Canceling shade. Canceling shade. Now can be ordered to load into Warp Prism while shading, automatically canceling the shade. Okay, I don't actually like that. Quality of life change. That's like a laziness thing. That's like, oh shit. Like, we don't want them to have to cancel that shade to pick these up. That's too much. That's too much. I don't like that. Slippery slope, guys. Don't do this. Queen. Fix an issue where initial creep tumors could be canceled. No longer able to receive certain orders for 0.6 seconds after spawning. Okay. Attacks no longer blocked by certain low ground terrain features. Well, that's weird. I actually wasn't even aware of this. Huh. That's weird. Okay. Fix an issue where Mule could cast targeting refineries close to the command center. I'm not even sure what that bug is. So a lot of these are little bugs that like probably don't happen all that often. Fix an issue where Hydras attacked faster at melee range. You know how they have a weird looking melee attack where they like hit you with their claws? I didn't know they attacked faster like that. Okay. Attack target priority increased from 10 to 20. on the stasis ward. Okay, okay. So now there's probably some sort of baiting that was occurring with stasis wards before to make sure they went off. You know, like if the army's on attack move and they see a stasis ward and then you like bring an adept up or something so the army attacks it and then gets frozen. That type of thing probably. Keep that priority really high so they actually get targeted. Fix an issue where units affected by interference matrix could give stop commands. Could not be issued stop commands. Okay, well that would have been an issue. Jesus. Fix an issue where units affected by interference matrix would walk forward below their attack range when given an attack move commands. I've definitely seen this. I have 100% seen this occur. Where you see a Colossus that gets interference matrix and it walks into the Terran army. 100% I've seen that. Nidus Worm. Okay. So mute his attack launch. Play each time the attack bounced. Circling could receive queued morph to Baneling commands. Could not receive queued morph to Baneling commands. Oh, that's weird. I didn't know that there was an issue with that. Okay. Could not be given commands when unburrowing. Of course, you want to be able to give those commands. Morph to Ravager would cancel with a smart command and issued immediately after the morph command. It's nice that they're getting rid of some of these things. Like, these types of things I kind of like. Some of these things that are very weird little... It's like, yeah, this command you couldn't give it. Shit like that's so annoying. Liberators cannot be given certain orders immediately after being ordered to siege. Okay. So that would maybe be something like a shift click to attack a queen or something. No longer need to wait full declaration before beginning to attack. Steady targeting snipe. Ha-ha! See? They know down here to be like, yes, it's snipe, guys. No one calls it steady targeting. Can now be manually canceled. Oh! Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, so let's take an overall look at the patch real quick. Okay. Overall... Love it. Love it. Love it. Good. Very interesting. Surprised. Love it. Love it. Surprised. They deserve this. They deserve this quality of life change. This should be down at the bottom. It's a quality of life change 100%. This I'm really unsure about. I don't know why you would buff the speed of the High Templar. It's like having the spellcasters be like the splash units be like a slower speed kind of makes sense to me, but okay. Love this. Nerfing disruptors I think is a good thing. Nerfing the carrier a little bit, I think, is a good thing. Sky Toss is not something you want to see too much of. Buffing the Sentry is a great thing, I think, because they are not used very much. Like, imagine if you had done this back in MC's day, he would have won 10 GSLs. But nowadays, with Sentries so little used, I like this a lot. The Forge stuff, this has to be because they're nerfing Disruptor Carrier, right? So they're trying to buff Gateway stuff and nerf Sky Toss stuff. Overall, I look at this patch, and I just think about how many GSLs Hero might end up winning. It looks like a good patch for Hero and a bad patch for a lot of bad Protoss players, if I may say so. Okay. I find this all kind of surprising overall. Like, I understand this piece here. I understand what they're doing with that there. Yeah, it's certainly a nerf to Ghosts. This makes a lot of sense because it's just not used the Banshee stuff. Okay, this I kind of get. The weird targeted of the plus 20 versus armored, I don't know that was really needed. In fact, maybe this will help out with some of the battle mech that we see against Zerg, because it doesn't feel like that stuff's that great. The plus 10 versus all, instead of like them nailing roaches down, they can actually kill Ravagers better now and stuff like that. That could make it more interesting. I do like the battle mech against Zerg. It can be fun to watch. Sensor tower, yeah, meh, okay. This is a very interesting change, I think, overall. The Raven. It'll be cool to see how that ends up playing out. Overall, it's kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting. I can't wait to see how this all actually looks in play. I think overall the thing I'm most excited about the Zerg changes. Because, like, the Terran ones, you might not notice as much. The Zerg ones, you're going to notice like hell. That's what it feels like to me. You're really gonna notice the Zerg ones. Overall, though, great to see the game actually getting a little patch. And, yeah, guy in the chat, okay, thank you. Thank you for your fucking sick take. The new Raven is trash. I love watching people, like, decide immediately upon seeing a patch that something sucks. It's like, okay, yeah, let's not let the pro gamers figure it out. You got it. Okay. So, anyways, fun stuff. I'm very excited to see, like, the next season of GSL and everything and see how this all turns out. But cheers to Blizzard for making a patch. Good stuff.